Much attention has been given to the Indiana Jones feature films, but little to their 1990s TV spin-off, the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. The series functioned as a prequel to the Indiana Jones movies, covering a period of Indy's life from 1908 through World War I and ending in 1920. In the show, Indy is always caught up in the middle of the most interesting events of the times, whether it be the Mexican Revolution, Ireland's Easter Rising, or the Battle of Verdun. The show was filmed on locations all across the world. For a TV show, Young Indiana Jones had incredible production value, with each 45-minute episode having an average budget of around $1.7 million. Though it has since fallen into obscurity, Young Indiana Jones was not only a great achievement in its own right, but also an important step in the development of the Star Wars prequel trilogy. The show and its made-for-TV movies ran from 1992 through 96, coinciding with pre-production of the prequels. Producer Rick McCallum called Young Indiana Jones a blueprint.
He wanted to use Indiana Jones as a platform, a blueprint, in order to eventually make Star Wars.
Creator and executive producer George Lucas viewed the show as a production experiment, where mistakes would be less costly than mistakes made on a feature film. As we'll see, Lucas used Young Indiana Jones as a kind of prototype for characters, settings, and ideas that would be incorporated into the Star Wars prequels. Before we dive in, there's one important note. Confusingly, the Young Indiana Jones episodes were originally aired in a somewhat random order. All episodes were later re-edited into chronological order, and this is how I will approach the show going forward. The first third of Young Indiana Jones covers Indy's life as an 8-year-old child, with Indy played by actor Corey Carrier, just as child Anakin would be played by Jake Lloyd in The Phantom Menace, the first third of the prequel trilogy. Actor Sean Patrick Flannery then takes over to play Indy as a young adult for the remainder of the show, the way an older Anakin would be portrayed by Hayden Christensen in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. The parallels to the Star Wars prequels are evident right from the first episode, where Indy's tutor complains that Indy is too young to be taught.
I'm sorry, it's impossible. He's far too young. Your son needs a governess.
Similar to how Anakin is informed that he is too old to begin his training as a Jedi.
He will not be trained. He is too old.
Indy and his parents then set off on a trip around the world. Their first stop is the Pyramids of Egypt, a desert sequence, much like our introduction to Anakin on the desert planet of Tatooine. In Egypt, Indy meets his first historical figure, Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence wisely advises Indy on the ethics of archaeology and discusses various religious beliefs regarding the afterlife.
A Hindu believes in reincarnation. Where do we come from? Where do we go?
Reminiscent of the way that Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon will discuss the ways of the Jedi and the Force with Anakin. Lawrence invites Indy on an excursion to see the Valley of the Kings. Indy asks his father for permission to go, in a scene akin to that of Anakin asking his mother Shmi for permission to go with the Jedi.
May we? Please? Can I go, Mom? Yippee! Yippee!
From Egypt, Indy and family travel to Morocco, complete with domed buildings similar to Naboo's Theed. Walking the streets of the market, we get a scene
Junior, you see what you did?
Reminiscent of Jar Jar Binks stepping in animal droppings. Indy meets Omar, a slave. Then Indy is captured and briefly enslaved himself. Another obvious connection to Anakin.
You're a slave?
Sometime later, Indy visits Vienna, Austria, where he develops a crush on a royal personage, Princess Sophia, daughter of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
They call you Your Highness. Are you a princess? Yes.
Again, think Anakin and Padme, Queen of Naboo.
Are you an angel?
Indy is warned that, much like Naboo, Austria is on the brink of war.
But her family is in constant danger. They live on a powder keg.
Federation would not dare go that far.
Indy asks his mother if his father ever gave her a gift when they were courting.
Why, yes, a locket.
Reminiscent of Anakin's gift to Padme. Indy then has dinner with Sigmund Freud, who warns him of the dangers of this romance.
Love in the heart of someone your age is a powerful and dangerous thing.
Be mindful of your thoughts, Anakin. They betray you.
And before leaving Vienna, Sophie gives Indy a locket.
I made this for you.
Next up, Indy visits Florence, Italy, and meets composer Giacomo Puccini. Puccini starts an affair with Indy's married mother, a love that cannot be. A bit like the Anakin and Padme romance, which was shot on location at Lake Como in Italy, though obviously their relationship is problematic for different reasons.
Please don't.
I want to hold you in my arms.
It is not possible.
We can't. It's just not possible.
Jumping ahead a bit more, we find ourselves in India, where Indy sees a Hindu cremation funeral, akin to Qui-Gon's Jedi funeral attended by Anakin. Indy learns about Buddhist and Hindu beliefs regarding life, death, and reincarnation. And of course, Jedi ideology is heavily based on these real-life religions, and we see similar discussions in the Star Wars prequels.
Rejoice for those around you who transform into the Force.
Let's fast forward to Indy as a young adult. He's now in London with his friend Remy, signing up to join the Belgian army in World War I. Indy and Remy will later become close comrades throughout the war, engaging in quite a bit of bantering like Anakin and Obi-Wan.
What took you so long?
Things have gotten a little more complicated.
I don't want to hear about it. What took you so long?
Before shipping off, Indy once again falls in love, this time with the daughter of a diplomat.
Well, my father's a diplomat.
A parallel to Anakin and Senator Amidala. There's an idyllic picnic and some horseback riding in the English countryside. Later in the series, Indy is in a relationship with another girl, this time in the Alps of northern Italy. Again, much of the Anakin and Padme romance in Attack of the Clones was shot on location at Lake Como in the Alps of northern Italy. Furthermore, Attack of the Clones and this Young Indiana Jones episode share the same writer, Jonathan Hales. In the course of his many adventures, Indy becomes a spy and gets involved with yet another girl.
You are emotionally involved. Not good idea in spy business.
Recalling the way Anakin is warned not to let his emotions cloud his judgment.
Don't let your personal feelings get in the way.
Indy later becomes involved in a romance with World War I spy Mata Hari in an episode co-written by George Lucas and Carrie Fisher. Fisher would later complain of disagreements with Lucas over his rather corny romantic dialogue in this episode. Fisher's version of the dialogue made it into a draft, but Lucas then rewrote her dialogue and shot the episode his way. I went crazy, Fisher says. I didn't want the shimmering arm, hair in the moonlight stuff.
I'd always write these beautiful romantic lines.
No, but
and your opinion of my romantic lines.
You wanted to write, your eyes are the colors of diamonds that glow.
Nah, come on, it wasn't that bad.
It was pretty.
This is the way we write together. Yeah, when we were writing together.
But it ended up being your thing anyway. You got your way.
No, I didn't.
Way.
This same style of bad romantic writing would appear in Attack of the Clones, with many critics panning the dialogue between Anakin and Padme. So it would seem that Lucas, unfortunately, did not take Carrie Fisher's feedback to heart. Young Indiana Jones was not only a testing ground for scenes and locations. Many former and future Star Wars actors would appear as well. Ian McDiarmid, who had played Emperor Palpatine in Return of the Jedi, would portray Professor Levi in an episode of Indiana Jones. Of course, McDiarmid would subsequently return to the Star Wars prequel trilogy, reprising his role as Palpatine. In the episode Indiana Jones and the Attack of the Hawkmen, a title amusingly similar to Attack of the Clones, C-3PO actor Anthony Daniels would play Francois, a French intelligence scientist with a comical role. But Lucas would also test out an actor new to Star Wars. Before appearing as Count Dooku in the prequels, Christopher Lee would portray a different Count in Young Indiana Jones, the real historical figure Count Ottokar Czernin, Austro-Hungarian diplomat in World War I. Several crew members from Young Indiana Jones would also end up working on the Star Wars prequels. Jonathan Hales wrote a number of Young Indiana Jones episodes, and later co-wrote Attack of the Clones with Lucas. Young Indiana Jones producer Rick McCallum would go on to produce the prequel trilogy. Cinematographer David Tattersall and production designer Gavin Bouquet would reprise their roles as well. We've now seen many parallels between Young Indiana Jones and the prequel films, but the connections to Star Wars don't end there. A large part of Young Indiana Jones covers World War I, and echoes of this can be seen in the Clone Wars TV show. Both shows deal with similar thematic elements, such as war profiteering.
The industrialists, the makers of arms, have every desire to keep this blasted thing going.
Millions of clones won't win this war. The only winner will be the banking clan.
And political intrigue.
The snares and delusions of diplomacy.
Again, like Anakin and Obi-Wan, there's a lot of bantering between Indy and Remy.
Any broken bones? There will be as soon as I catch my breath.
You all right there, Master? You never do things my way.
We crashed the ship your way.
Additionally, Indy repeatedly gets himself and Remy into trouble. For instance, they get lost in Africa after Indy takes the wrong train, then crosses the savannah on foot in the wrong direction.
You pinhead! I can't believe it!
My instincts tell me to go that way.
That doesn't seem right.
Also like Anakin, Indy takes reckless chances in battle, such as when he leads a charge on a German position in defiance of a direct order.
Yes, sir. I did hear the order to fall back.
Yet you chose to disobey.
General Skywalker's already engaged the enemy.
That's nothing out of the ordinary, especially since I gave him a direct order not to.
One episode centers around Indy's discovery that the German army is bringing up 2 Big Berthas, massive artillery guns. When Indy presents this intel to his French commanding officers, General Nivelle dismisses the danger, even suggesting that Indy fabricated the story.
You realize that traitors are shut.
Nivelle then orders an attack in spite of the likelihood of high casualties. A parallel can be seen in the Clone Wars Umbara arc. Like General Nivelle, General Krell repeatedly pits his troops against impossible odds while also accusing them of disloyalty.
The casualties are going to be high. Is Krell trying to get us killed?
Are you questioning my order?
Similarly, when Indy is in Africa, he and his men mutiny against their ruthless commanding officer, just as the clones eventually defy and imprison General Krell. While in Africa, Indy and the troops find an orphaned child and bring him along with them, much as the clones befriend an orphaned Twi'lek girl in the Clone Wars episode Innocence of Ryloth. In another of Indy's misadventures, he and Remy capture German commander Paul von Leto. They drift along in a hot air balloon without any plan, to von Leto's exasperation.
We don't have a compass.
What sort of imbecile crosses Africa without a compass?
When the group ends up lost in the African savannah, von Leto helps them to survive. A similar humorous storyline occurs in the Clone Wars, when Anakin and Obi-Wan believe that they have captured Count Dooku, only to be captured in turn by pirates. Dooku assists in the escape, with the 3 captives bickering all the while.
It's like kidnapping my father.
Could you at least spare me the sound of your constant chatter?
If you were my troops, I'd have you flogged. I would kill you both right now.
Both the Clone Wars and Young Indiana Jones had multiple episodes centered around undercover spies and traitors. In North Africa, Indy is sent to find a traitor within the French Foreign Legion who is smuggling guns to the enemy. In a surprise reveal, the traitor is found to be the colonel in charge.
We haven't seen inside your boots yet.
Reminiscent of Clone Wars episode The Hidden Enemy, in which Cody and Rex uncover Sergeant Slick as a spy. Even specific plot devices used in Young Indiana Jones can be found in the Clone Wars. One episode has Indy imprisoned in a German castle, which Indy escapes via a coffin. This same trick is used by Cad Bane and company in their escape from a Republic jail in the Clone Wars episode Deception. In both cases, the coffins end up at a crematorium. Young Indiana Jones was unfortunately canceled by ABC in 1993, after just 2 seasons. While Indy's uncanny ability to run into the most famous people and events of history was admittedly rather contrived at times, the show did succeed in being both informative and entertaining, and I would highly recommend it. Young Indiana Jones deserves to be remembered, not only as an achievement in and of itself, but as part of the larger history of Star Wars.